folks further down the street with the people way down low. Ain't no sound but the sound of speed. Machine guns ready to go. Are you ready? Hey, are you ready for this? Are you hanging on the edge of your seat? Out of the doorway, the bullets rip. To the sound of the beat, yeah. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust.
Hey guys, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at official ARC and why so many players are walking away from it. Now the original idea from this video came from the fact that a lot of the dudes I used to play with are giving up, or just generally not enjoying the game anymore. But the part that really got to me and pushed me over the edge to actually make this video was a certain clip from a video of H.O.D's that he recently posted, and I'll just let you have a little bit of a listen to it here. I'm not trying to steal his work or anything like that, I'm a big fan of H.O.D's, but it's just the way he explained it is what really got to me.
So this is kind of the best thing that could have happened because I was literally killing myself. So if you guys have been wondering why I haven't been uploading much, like I was doing stupid, ridiculous sleep hours during this time. I was like going to sleep at like 2 AM and then waking up at like 5 AM just so we didn't have a big offline period. And it was really getting to me. It was really making me sick. Like you guys have realized and seen that I've been super sick recently. It's because of this damn game. Like I was just running myself ragged, just trying to stay up and keep the base online.
Now the reason this got to me so much is because when I stopped playing ARC Official originally, I decided to take a good long look at myself, and I realised something had gone drastically wrong. In the many months before that I'd been playing ARC for every day of the week pretty much, I'd almost put on a whole 20 kilos of weight. And another thing that I didn't really even notice until I actually watched H.O.D's video, and he mentioned about him getting sick all the time, was so was I. If you go and ask some of the tribes that I used to play with, I'd always join the party and they'd forever ask like, am I always sick or what? And as H.O.D said, it's just you run yourself ragged. You really do, and I can completely understand what he's talking about when he says putting in ridiculously long hour shifts. I hate to admit it, but at one stage I was putting in well over 16-hour shifts. In fact, in one of the scenes from a video that I edited called Falling, which was just like a montage from a couple raids and that, but in some of the scenes from that I'd actually been online for more than 38 hours. And you can put that down to like lack of self-discipline because that's exactly what it is. But if you've ever actually played ARC, and I mean like played it hard, then you'll know it takes so long to do anything. And while defending a base while you're online is completely doable, defending a base while you're offline is just not a thing. Now you could argue the point soakers are way too easy to raise, or you could even make the argument that you should be recruiting more people to manage a tribe. But none of those arguments really matter in my opinion. Because the simple fact of the matter is, if you're not online, they've got as many tries at the base as they want. And if they're half competent and have the gear and tames to back them up, they're guaranteed to be in. Like, you can have a couple of months worth of work erased in a couple hours. It's easily doable. I've been part of a few raids where there's been bases that you think would not fall easily, and they fell easier than some of the small bases, just due to them not being on and able to defend it. Now you can argue the point that offline raiding is weak, but at the end of the day, it's usually the most effective way to do it. And when you're raiding other tribes, you should be looking at it as war. So of course you're going to take whatever advantage you can. But the reason H.O.D saying that he's been sick a lot lately really got to me is because when I quit official ARC, I started going back and doing things that I used to do before I started playing ARC. I started going back to the gym and losing a lot of the weight that I started putting on from just sitting there playing endlessly and not getting the right amount of sleep. Which brings me to another point, whereas before I wouldn't log off until the job was complete. Like say there was a turret tower or something half assembled, I'd make sure that it was completely done before I logged off. Whereas my current lifestyle is fuck it basically, I'll just log off, I don't care, I really don't. And the result for this is I haven't been sick since, apart from like a common cold, but I haven't been really like feeling as though I'm literally going to die sick. I haven't had no huge sleeping issues, and my meals at home have been pretty much on point. Basically the point I'm trying to get across is you can't have a normal life and play this game at the same time. It's just not possible. Now I'm lucky enough to work a job that allows me to work at home, so fortunately I can always be around if something were to go down. Like I'd hate to see how someone with a full-time job would be able to play this game. You simply wouldn't, not without a bunch of tribe mates. And you can argue the point is they didn't want you to play this game alone, that's why you got tribes. It's like yes, but the developers don't understand that there is things like inside and stuff like that, and you can set up a ranking system, but in that being said you can't set it up in a way that it's fair enough for the people that you're playing with to be able to enjoy the game and not feel like a slave, but safe enough so you're not going to get robbed of your shit pretty much. So the end result of that is usually you end up taking on way more work than you can actually handle, and that ends up being the reason that you end up really sick, because you start running yourself ragged. As H.O.D said, you start running your own body into the ground because you're one person, and I know this better than a lot of people, is you're one person trying to do 7 people's jobs. Another thing that H.O.D said was that he'd like to see an offline raid protection of some sort. Now I'm not really sure what he had in mind, but this is something I came up with and I was sort of thinking to myself, was we don't want full offline raid protection, like literally you log off, that's it, you can't be raided, because that takes away the whole aspect of being able to play with other players. It takes away what is the game. You're essentially isolated to yourself until that other player is online. And consider it is a PvP game, you should still have that risk of being offline raided. That's just how it is. You'll play Rust, and while that's nowhere near as demanding, you still can be offline raided. And as I said, I'm not sure what H.O.D had in mind, but this is what I have in mind. Okay, so what about a 1.5 to 2 times buff on turrets overall? So just turrets in general do more damage. Like, you don't need to make it so Soakers are a lot harder to raise. This game, it takes so much fucking time to do shit as it is. The last thing we need is another 7-day raise for something that's just going to die. But why not put a 1.5 to 2 times overall buff on turrets for when tribes are online and you try to raid them? Because I personally don't think turrets do enough damage, considering how high you can get some saddles. But at the same time, I don't want to see another 7-day raise for a team that's literally born to die. The game is already way too physically demanding, and as I mentioned before, if you even have any ounce of normal life, then you just can't have that and play this game at the same time successfully. But what do I propose for the offline? Because that's the big thing in question here. Well, what about if when you're logged off? Because the reason that raiders want to raid you while you're offline is because it's less risk. It's a lot easier to get in, and you waste a lot less resources. So what if we bring up that risk factor for them? What about if we make it about as difficult to raid offline as it is to online? Because as H.O.D mentioned, the ratios just do not make sense. You should not be able to grind for months on end and then just be wiped in an hour. That's not how it should work. But what I'd propose is a 6 to 7 times buff on damage of turrets while you're offline, and increase the damage structures can take by 1.5, just to make it so it's a little bit more resources, because that's the whole reason people want to offline raid, is because there is less resources involved. Whereas if structures can take more damage and turrets can output more damage, that's going to be a lot more resources as it would be. You'd probably be better off raiding online. Well, that's just been my views on it. I'm not really sure what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below. If for whatever reason H.O.D was to see this video, I'd like to actually hear his thoughts on it. But one thing is very clear, is something has got to change, because this game is going to run itself into the ground if something doesn't. The amount of dudes I used to play with that used to put in endless hours into this game, and now they simply refuse to play it because it's just way too demanding, it makes you sort of wonder why this game has a player base left at all. And there is a simple answer to that. That's because it's a very fucking good game. It is anything but perfect, but it's always had the potential to be something unmatched by any other game out there. If they could just work out all the little kinks, everyone would enjoy the game so much more, and I guarantee their player base would skyrocket. But anyway, that's the video for today. If you want to talk about anything, whether it be about the video or what I'm currently doing now, follow me on Twitter, like my page on Facebook, hit me up with a message, and I'll be sure to let you know. And until the next video, guys, later.